scientists are also increasingly concerned about what's happening to the sea ice around Antarctica.
This colossal continent covered completely in ice. It is the size of the United States and Mexico combined.
Well, folks, we've got aliens, alien communications, and glowing holes in Antarctica to pick from today to blow your mind. So, enjoy the adventure. Admiral Richard E. Byrd allegedly wrote about his encounter with a lost civilization during his expedition to both the North and South Poles. According to his secret entries, he met this alien race underground and witnessed a huge base with animals and plants previously thought to have been extinct. The animals he saw actually included mammoth-like creatures. Experts said that his plane was commandeered mid-air and landed for him by people in the center of the Earth who intercepted his plane with saucer-shaped aircrafts. Upon landing, he was met by emissaries of a civilization many assumed to be the mythical Agartha. These alleged Agarthans expressed their concern about humanity's use of atomic explosives during world events and employed Byrd as their ambassador to return to the US government and relay their sentiment. So everybody was ordered to remain silent on what they had witnessed during this assignment by the government. The admiral actually wrote in his diary on March 11th of 1947 saying that he had just attended a staff meeting at the Pentagon and he had fully stated his discovery and his message from the master. Everything was duly recorded and the president was advised, but then he was detained for several hours, or 6 hours 39 minutes to be exact, and was interviewed intently by top security forces and a medical team. He said it was an ordeal, lots of exclamation points. He was placed under strict control via the national security provisions of the United States of America, and in full caps folks, he was ordered to remain silent in regard to all that he had learned on the behalf of humanity, which like, sir, spill, please, I would like to know more about this. What's up there and what's down there? In 2017, a giant hole appeared in the Antarctic ice and initially measured over 3,700 square miles. Yeah, that might already sound a little big. Oh, wait for it! Within 6 weeks, it had grown to more than 30,000 square miles. That's an area almost as big as Kansas. That's just over 8 times its original size in less than 2 months. Yikes! Known as a polynya, the hole was in an area of unfrozen ocean surrounded by ice. So this one, known as the Maud Rise polynya, located in the Lazarus Sea, was first recorded in 1974 but had not reappeared since. It was spotted during the depths of the Antarctic winter, when the sea ice is at its thickest. What caused it to open back up? A mystery. Experts used satellite observations and high-resolution data relating to the time and space of the polynya to work out the conditions that led to the hole, and they discovered that intense cyclones and strong winds had caused the ice to be carried away from the region. The cyclones they found? Comparable to category 11 on the Beaufort scale. Once again folks, the scariest end of this scale is a category 12, so an 11 is really bad. Surface winds drag the sea ice to the left, while the cyclonic winds carry them in the opposite direction, so this led to an opening in the ice field near the center of the cyclone. So this polynya grew and grew until it eventually merged with the open ocean, and then the ice began to retreat as a result of summer. So researchers say the link between cyclones and the holes kind of has implications for the future, as climate change models suggest that there will be more polar cyclones in the future. So a lot of this is really important because of the exchange of heat between the ocean and the atmosphere that results after the occurrence, especially during the winter months when the sea ice pack is expected to be consolidated. So having these windows affects the ocean circulation and the atmosphere. Folks, global warming is real, I don't think I can stress that enough. After this polynya has opened, it transfers vast amounts of energy between the ocean and the atmosphere, with the potential to globally alter climate because of how it affects ocean circulation. I'm sorry, how is this not bigger news? I think we should be talking about this more. Scientists revealed in October of last year that they had discovered a vast hidden landscape of hills and valleys carved by ancient rivers that has been frozen in time under the Antarctic ice for millions of years. This landscape, which by the way is bigger than Belgium, has remained untouched for potentially more than 34 million years. But human-driven global warming could threaten to expose it. It is an undiscovered landscape that nobody's laid eyes on. That was a statement from Stuart Jameson, a glaciologist at the UK's Durham University and the lead author of the study. He said what's exciting is that it's been hiding there in plain sight. Turns out researchers didn't use new data, they just used a new approach. The land underneath the East Antarctic ice sheet is less well known than the surface of Mars, which is so wild to think about when you consider how much we still don't know about Mars to this day. So the main way to quote unquote see beneath it is for a plane overhead to send radio waves into the ice and analyze the echoes, so radio echo sounding. Experts are now on course to develop atmospheric conditions similar to those that prevailed between 14 to 34 million years ago, when it was 3 to 7 degrees Celsius warmer than currently. But doing this across the continent, and remember that Antarctica is bigger than Europe, would kind of pose a huge challenge. So researchers involved were using existing satellite images of the surface to trace out the valleys and ridges more than 2 kilometers below. It's just really cool when you work with like this radio echo sounding data and everything else, and you really get this image that emerges of a river-carved landscape of plunging valleys and sharply peaked hills, similar to some currently on the Earth's surface. Folks compared it to looking out the window of a super long flight and seeing a mountainous region below. So this is 32,000 square kilometers. It was probably once home to trees, forests, animals, but then the ice came along and it was frozen in time. Exactly when sunshine last touched this hidden world is difficult to determine. But researchers are adamant it's been at least 14 million years. Some of the researchers had previously found a city-sized lake under the Antarctic ice, and the team believes there's other ancient landscapes down there just waiting to be discovered. The fact that retreating ice over past warming events, such as, the 4 million years ago, didn't expose the landscape is kind of cause for hope for the future. But we're not sure what the tipping point would be for a runaway reaction of melting. The study was released a day after scientists warned us that the melting of the neighboring West Antarctic ice sheet is likely to substantially accelerate in the coming decades, even if the world meets its ambitions to limit global warming. Look guys, do y'all remember that last year a massive piece of Antarctica's Brunt ice shelf, like a chunk about the size of 2 New York cities, broke free? That was a big deal. Last year also the Larsen sea ice shelf, which was roughly the size of New York City and was long considered to be stable, also collapsed into the sea. Glacier experts have warned that some of the world's bigger glaciers could disappear within a generation if we don't do our job. In 1959, a Soviet expedition based on the Mirny Polar Station in Antarctica sent a group of 8 researchers deep into the uncharted continent, and the group's goal was to reach the South Magnetic Pole. Only 3 people returned from the dispatch group. According to the official version, the cause of the tragedy was severe frost and a storm, as well as an all-terrain vehicle engine failure. Well, later on, Soviet polar explorer Yuri Koshinov, in a conversation with a reporter, explained what had happened to the expedition. So he was one of the participants who returned from the trip to the magnetic pole, and according to the explorer, the group was attacked by luminous flying objects resembling discs, and an attempt to photograph an anomalous phenomenon ended poorly. Cameras were destroyed by a beam sent from a flying object. Those who tried to repel the attack using their hunting rifles were also struck by the rays from the object and, well, didn't make it. The reporter didn't have time to publish the collected materials, as the sudden passing of Yuri prevented this. In 1970, the United States Environmental Science Service Administration, or ESA, published satellite images of the poles, and there was one photo that showed a perfectly rounded hole, and that sparked a lot of theories. Folks think underground civilizations. Remember how I said Agartha earlier? Yeah, here we go again, folks. A groundbreaking initiative has been spearheaded by one Dr. Stephen M. Greer, a renowned founder of the Disclosure Project, and a respected authority on UFO phenomena. So he made quite the presentation last year at the National Press Club in Washington, and he unveiled compelling evidence that there might be some covert and unauthorized black budget projects that are associated with UFO stuff, and it might be happening in Antarctica. There was compelling testimony from Eric Heckner, who is a former contractor who spent a year at the South Pole, and he emphasized that the technology there, particularly something known as the ice cube neutrino detector, serves purpose beyond what is publicly disclosed. He presented documentation indicating that there's some stuff embedded that can transmit really far. We're talking, it possesses capabilities far beyond passive listening. It effectively functions as a multifaceted directed energy weapons platform. It could be used for communications with spacecrafts traveling through our solar system and beyond. And that's all folks, we'll chat next time. I've been Alexa, see ya!